Hello Tenno, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm beginning a new series on a Tenno, a Tauron Scholar's Guide on how to do the 3 super bosses. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about the 60 eyes fragmented one boss, which you can do in a deimos. Now, all these 3 bosses are not much of a necessity, like you don't have to do these. These bosses are like your late game cosmetic missions because the rewards of these bosses are cosmetic. You don't get any like progression based stuff from them, like maybe some materials, but you can get them from the regular version of the boss as well. And these bosses also have special profile pictures for bragging rights. I don't know if Honoria got added for these bosses, but if there is, that will be also really cool. And in today's video, I'm gonna quickly talk about what the 60 eyes gives, like because I said it's cosmetic. So you'll be doing 60 eyes for first of all the accolade glyphs. These are the profile pictures I'm talking about, which you can go to your options profile glyphs. How accolade glyphs work is basically if you do the 60 eyes boss, which is in a fervor deimos, a node you unlock after doing the whispers in the walls quest, you're gonna do this in steel pet. You can do it with a team or a solo with specific warframes. I'm gonna tell you what does the team one gives. There's a different team reward which you can also get by completing it solo for the first time. But first of all, the solo steel pet clear reward for the 60 eyes fragmented one with these 6 specific warframes, which are Sevagot, Vauban, Protea, Jade, Gauss, and Mirage, are these profile pictures right here. You're gonna have to clear the 60 eyes boss 6 times so you get the profile pictures. Yes, you will have to solo clear the steel pet boss with Sevagot, Vauban, Protea, Jade, Gauss, Mirage solo. Another thing you can get with this is ranking up the Inside Medallion. If I remember correctly, one of the 20 challenges of Inside Medallion is defeating the 60 eyes, similar to the other challenges that is like defeating Captain War or the Apex thing. The team reward you can get from this, or the first time clear reward you get from the 60 eyes is the Manus Sumdali. As I said before, Manus Sumdali drops from the 6 stars boss either if you clear solo or clear it with a team in the special variant, super boss variant. So you will get this regardless if you do it solo or with a team. If you want to get the profile pictures, you have to do it solo steel pet with those 6 specific warframes. Now, how does the mission work? Let me quickly tell that. When you go to the mission, these probes will be pinged on the map. The first probe will be. You pick this up, you put it in this vitrium, which will be pinged when you grab the probe, and the vitrium will spawn eyes. There are like rooms you have to go with vitriums, and vitriums can get exhausted, but I don't know how many eyes you can collect to exhaust one vitrium. It will say in the screen like vitrium exhausted. That means you have to get a new probe and get a new vitrium to collect more eyes. You will follow the pings around the map. These probes usually are the corners of like the doors of the Entrati Laboratories tile set, and you can grab one with your Warframe, and you can grab another with Drifter if you want to double time it. But when you solo it, I wouldn't suggest double timing it because the eyes have a duration. They spawn with a duration, so you can only collect like in the time frame they spawn. And after you collect all of the eyes that spawn, you have to kill enemies while you're around the Vitrium, so it can research again until it gets exhausted. Yes, the Vitrium itself has like waves, and each wave is like a pulse. The first pulse happens, you collect the eyes while their duration don't run out. If there are eyes that are being attacked, you can kill those enemies and you can grab the eyes. And when you collect the eyes and there's no eyes to collect, you check if you can kill a bunch of enemies, reset the timer, and make it pulse again. You do that again, and until the Vitrium exhausted. Then you rinse and repeat for the next room. You will grab the probe, put it in Vitrium, and collect eyes again. So, in a regular Effervo mission, which is right there, in a regular Effervo assassination mission, you collect 30 eyes. It counts on the bottom left corner, like top left, middle left. You get the idea. When you get the 30 eyes, it will ping the boss for you with a red ping. What you will do to activate the secret boss is not going to the red ping, grab a probe, which unfortunately won't be pinged, so you'll have to find that yourself. You will put it in Vitrium, and then you will start the process again, which you collect 30 more eyes. It will count from 30, it won't return back to like 0, like it will be like 31, 32, 33. You collect eyes. When there's no eyes to collect and the Vitrium is still active, you kill enemies to create another pulse to collect more eyes. Exhaust Vitrium, grab another probe, go to another Vitrium, rinse and repeat. When you reach 60 eyes, you will now go to the red pinged area to fight the 60 eyes boss. Now, what makes the fragmented one, the 60 eyes boss, special? You see, the boss has a headpiece, which in regular 30 eyes assassination boss, this head can change. There's 3 different heads and 3 different skills that it can do. With the 60 eyes boss, however, it will use all 3 head abilities: laser beams, explosions, yada yada, all that jazz. It will spawn enemies in the second phase. It can burrow underground. The lasers it shoots silences you, and I'm pretty sure there's a new skill added to the boss, which is a damage over time ability where every 60 seconds a stack will appear on your Warframe, and each stack will deal increasing damage to you every second. Why is that added? Because when you see the builds, most of my builds are, when the 6 dice first came out, are shield gating builds. Shield gating builds get mogged by this, so you'll have to use the Vazarin Dash and Rolling Guard mods even more often than you used to, because this boss usually is the easiest out of the 3, but now with that damage over time, and considering it also has abilities that can silence you, shield gating is kinda harder with this boss. But since I'm pretty sure the attenuation either got nerfed or the same with this boss, I don't know. It's either harder now, or if the attenuation did got nerfed with this boss, maybe it's easier now. It's also based off which arena you're fighting in, because this boss can appear in 3 different arenas, and if you enter the arena with the ceiling closed off, you're kind of screwed because there's not much place to fly around. That's gonna be a struggle. Um, So, you may ask, Baguette, if shield gating gets screwed over by the stacks, what if I build arcane persistence? The problem is, if you want to do the acolyte glyphs, I don't think any of these warframes, like Gauss has amazing shield gating, but I don't know if even he can survive it. But when it comes to health gating with arcane persistence, I don't know if there's any Warframe here that can get up to like a really good HP and also have over 700 armor all the time, because the boss will also spawn Jade Light Eximus units, which will give you hit procs, which can halve your armor value, which will counter the arcane persistence. So at best, maybe Sevagod can work with persistence, but I wouldn't suggest it. In my opinion, you should go shield gating builds with all of these Warframes. Now I'm keep talking about builds. What can we build for the 60 Ice boss? I'll get right to it. So when we come to the Warframe builds, this will be the build that you will be using for all of those 6 Warframes for this boss fight. Vigilante Vigor and Fast Deflection and Aegis is a great combo for shield gating. Arrow Vantage keeps you on air because the 60 Eyes attacks are mostly ground based. Rolling Guard, you will use it a lot. Arcane Nullifier, you get silence, but you also get magnetic proc, so Arcane Nullifier will counter that. I use Handspring, but I can actually change that because now the boss knocks you down even more. Instead of Handspring, what you can use is, yes, I'm not lying, Prime Sure Footed. The Intensify and Prime Flow are all like flex slots. Like you can change that with anything, like I'm doing right here. And yes, prime sure-footed is probably one of those times which will carry you a lot, because these super bosses do knock down a lot, and this is your answer if the arrow vantage doesn't work. What arrow vantage does, by the way, is when you aim glide, you have 100% less gravity. So for like a few seconds, it lets you fly around. If you don't have primed redirection, you can also use regular redirection. Like it doesn't matter if you have like regular redirection or prime redirection, but it matters a bit because of the shield gating. But like I said, this is a very late game build, and early game doesn't have to do this. These missions are not a necessity. This is for late game cosmetic stuff. Like you're not obliged to do these hard bosses. Archon shards doesn't matter for this. So when we come to the weapons, you can do burst and prime. You can either make a primary acuity or a regular build with galvanized aptitude, but galvanized aptitude and primary merciless probably won't work against this boss at this point, even though it spawns enemies in the second phase. What you can do is go serration, max serration, and then build something like primary blight or primary frost for extra critical damage, or primary plated rounds for even more damage. Because I don't, considering the boss's damage attenuation and the HP, I don't think diminishing returns can happen this much. The ribbon is not necessary. I have a ribbon, I use it. If you don't have a ribbon, don't worry about it. It is completely fine. You will still deal damage by the mods I talked about. Serration, Vital Sense, Critical Delay. Like at the late game, you should have these. The other two primaries I can suggest are Torrid and Bratton Prime. Bratton Prime, same build idea with Bursten, just pure damage. Torrid, same thing. Torrid, Bursten, Bratton should work well against this boss. If not, let me know in the comments what weapon would you or did you use against the super boss in current update, because the attenuation had been changed, so things have been different. I personally tried these builds and I was dealing some damage, but the gameplay can bug out. The boss is kind of glitchy at times because of the certain damage and knockdown moments, and also you cannot use on-call crews at this moment, which I will mention further in the video. So like I said, Torrid is an amazing weapon with the Incarnon, because you can chain to the other enemies that the boss spawns, so you can proc Arcane Merciless better. When it comes to secondaries, there's an obvious one. By the way, Bursten, Bratton, and Torrid, of course, are going to be Incarnons. Like I said, this is a late game thing. When we come to the secondaries, Dual Toxicist is your friend. Riven is not necessary. Riven is completely flex slot. I would suggest something like Cascadia Flare or Cascadia Empowered or Secondary Shiver for your arcane choices with this weapon, because they will deal pure damage and you won't have to kill enemies to increase the damage, because in the first stage the boss is alone. You will also have to trust your parkour abilities really well with this boss, because like I said, the lasers silence you. No magnetic procs if you have arcane, that arcane magnetism. The arcane I showed in the Warframe build. But yeah, dual toxicity usually does well against this attenuation bosses, so I would suggest you using this as your secondary with the Incarnon. You can do primary acuity, get rid of the galvanized shot, and add on Hornet Strike. Melee, you don't need it. Do not try to melee the 60 eyes boss, just remove it. When it comes to the tenno schools, Vazarin is your friend, because Vazarin has Vaz Dash, which if you Void Sling into your Warframes, you will become immortal for a moment, and you will heal. One thing I want to bring Madurai for is Tauron strikes, especially Madurai's one. Like I only have Madurai's, but and Zenrix. Madurai Tauron strikes chunks this. Uh, the Madurai's Tauron strike chunks the 60 eyes boss. I don't know if you can see a similar performance with the other Tauron strikes, but yeah, the Madurai one does a really good damage, especially in second stage. When it comes to the Sentinel build, I use Nautilus Prime. It can be any other Sentinel. I wouldn't suggest using Sacrifice, because the Sacrifice works like If you die, your sentinel uses its own HP, like it kills itself to heal you. But the problem is, this won't work all the time. Like, I rather suggest if you get downed, try to get down in the second stage so you can at least use your Madurai abilities to kill enemies around you so you can spawn yourself back up. Because sacrifice doesn't get to proc. Sentinels can die easily because the boss deals a good chunk of damage. So I use like shield regen, guardian, prime regen, so my Nautilus is always up. And it usually helps me with the second phase's enemies if the turret I'm using is not happening, or I'm using a single target weapon. The weapon is a Verglass Prime. Everglass Prime with viral, heat, and magnetic, so it deals good damage against overgrowth and shields if the 60 Ice boss spawns it. Now, one of the important parts I mentioned was on-call crews and call beacons. Call beacon is an item you can get. It's an air support charges if you get call ship from call missions, which you can have access on Drifter's camp after you do the New War and the Veilbreaker quests. Why am I mentioning these? They can be a good extra helping hand. Calls, guys, and on-call crews, I believe, ignore enemy damage attenuation, so they deal like direct damage to the enemy. So if you have if you need a helping hand, these are really good helping hands. I mean, I suggest you should always have like a an on-call crew, at least an on-call crew, a Spectre, which you can craft if you get the blueprint from us by clearing void missions, or at least a call beacon, because ignoring the enemy damage detonation to deal them damage is really well. It's really helpful for both stages as well. It's like a cheat code. So as a strategy, I would suggest you getting call beacons, getting an on-call crew by doing railjack missions. I'm pretty sure one of the railjack intrinsics lets you get an on-call crew, which a crewmate you can buy from Ticker from Fortuna. But apparently, on-call crews are currently bugged in console, but not in PC. So if you're gonna do this in PC, you're in luck. And also, arc guns and necromex can deal damage, but I wouldn't suggest using them because you will run out of bullets real fast. 5-minute cooldown. They probably get attenuated really fast, and necromex will probably die. Alright, that's all for the 60 Eyes guide. I hope you took some notes. If you have any better strategies, any strategies you used on your own, you can let me know in the comments. I wish you guys a good luck hunting down the 60 Eyes, and I see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.